Star Citizen Alpha 3.16's missing features are starting to turn up in the PTU patch now, and we've had a lot of polish going into JumpTown, that event, so let's take a look at the latest patch updates and what's happening with all of it. We now have Star Citizen Alpha 3.16.0D on the open PTU, and it actually adds a good amount of new features. The Area 18 hospital interior locations arrived, so that location now has those facilities, and the Dying Star map has been updated to bring it in line with the recently updated Broken Moon map by making it bigger and adding new playable areas and more cover and new space assets. There are issues with how bright the star is and some other visibility problems. People are having performance issues. It needs a bit of polish. It's a PTU patch. It's Alpha game. Polish is needed. Actually, with that in mind, some general polish has been made to reduce the max speeds and update Gravlev raycasting to help reduce unwanted hits on hills and ground objects. So you're in for a much more stable ride with the new Gravlev system now. They reduced snow velocity stretch to prevent elongated snow effects on Microtech, so you don't have to go, oh, what is this weird thing I can see? It's snow. You actually see real snow, better looking snow. They've tweaked the Ares Ion weapon to have higher RPM with more DPS and made aim adjustments. I've realised I'm just going to say acronyms in the future. It's just my whole video is just going to be RPM, DPS, bam, 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 bam. That's the only two I know. But it should make it harder to track and one-shot single-seater fighters with the ship. That said, people are still going to be able to do it. Like, the Ares Ion is a fantastic sniping ship. Obviously, was not intended to just go, poop, dead, dead for bounties or for taking out single seaters, but yeah, it's a weird one. I'm interested to know what other people think. How should the Ares Ion be used? What do you see its sort of use in one-on-ones? Do you go, well, it's not supposed to be used in one-on-one dogfighting at all. This is madness. Or actually, no, well, yeah, in some situations, you should be able to snipe people out of their ship effectively. They've adjusted the turret velocities on the Redeemer. They've added radars to the Constellation series co-pilot seats. Let's move on to the sort of main meat of this video, and that's JumpTown. So, for JumpTown, in this latest patch, they've taken a load of the feedback from the first round of JumpTown playtesting in 3.16 and gone, you know what, we need to polish some of this. So, they've increased base and maximum payouts, they've fixed multiple bugs, name string issues and crashes related to JumpTown events. Players should now receive a warning when the event is about to expire. After this warning, the drug spawner will cease production, and new players will no longer be able to accept the event-related mission. After this warning will be a grace period where players can still keep their mission, and event-specific locations will continue to buy maize at an increased price. So it's not just going to be like, bam, it's over, your drugs are actually worth a lot less now, and you can't even sell them. It's going to have a bit of grace period there, which is a good idea. Criminal mission. So, the criminal mission side of this now has a buy-in of 5,000 Alpha UEC. The mission should now display as 0+ bonuses for its reward. Mission will now only start with one marker, the drug lab that's active. On arrival at the drug lab, the preferred buyer marker will be added, and some dialogue will play calling it out. If the player accepts the mission while already at the lab, the marker should just be silently added on start. When selling at the preferred buyer, players will receive an additional mission reward from Ruto on top of their sell value. When selling at the preferred buyer, which is Grimhex, let's face it, players will also receive reputation affinity with Ruto equal to the number of units they have sold. Criminal missions no longer end at 85%. Instead, Ruto plays a warning that the drugs have stopped spawning. Criminal missions will now instead finish at event end, at which point Ruto will inform you that his buyer has closed up shop. So the lawful mission side of JumpTown, so that should now display a reward of 5,000 plus bonuses for successful completion. The mission will still be completed when the event ends. However, now if the player has made a successful deposit of drugs, the mission will be a success, rewarding them with at least 5,000. But if they did not turn any drugs, it will be a failure because they didn't do anything. They just sort of like, oh yes, I want to help, and didn't help, potentially. More to JumpTown's evolution, the jump marker, the sort of the mission marker for the drug lab. Do you think it should be there for you to quantum travel to? Or do you think you should have to travel to that lab manually? Now, I'm not talking about removing the marker to show where it is. I'm talking about, well, the original JumpTown and these sort of like hidden drug labs. Traditionally, you're supposed to traverse to them sort of manually. You're supposed to work out a way of getting to them. Or do you think that's too much faff? Do you think, well, just give me a marker and I'll quantum travel to it? Because there's a bit of a conversation going on in the JumpTown feedback section where some people are like, well, actually, I think it's much better to, have the marker there, bam. Or no, and some people going, well, actually, no, I want to be able to actually slow people down getting there. You should actually have to, they're supposed to be hidden. You should have to traverse there manually. So Cloud Imperium have actually said that the quantum travel marker there to actually travelling to jump to isn't intended, and it hasn't been a jumpable point in their playtests. Is it pointless restricting it? Is it a good idea to? Does it slow people down? Does it mean that they can take a little bit longer there? I mean, all you need to do is literally stop a quantum jump while you're travelling over the points, and it's actually pretty easy to set up, but because it's easy to set up, I mean, it shows you where the location is. Yeah. But I saw someone then talking about JumpTown and ground combat and defences. Basically, they need to be improved because at the moment, if you're doing FPS around JumpTown on top of it, or whatever, then if there's ships and gunships locking down that area, you're just going to get annihilated, pretty much, in FPS, unless there's more defences there, ways to push away the ships or whatever. Obviously, you can be inside and take people out as they try and get in, but that's a little bit different. And Cloud Imperium responded, it's a solid point and something to keep an eye on. Personally, my preference is to put tools into the player's hands to solve problems like those themselves, rather than artificially having the mission cover it. In part because that band-aid needs to then be applied for every similar situation, location, and event. If a squad with appropriate AA vehicles could not hold a location against an air assault, that potentially speaks to the lack of appropriate tools in the greater game to combat the situation. That then becomes feedback that we can then give to other teams that can then work on those player tools. These events are intended to pull double duty in that I not only want them to provide the opportunity for you all to have an enjoyable experience, but also in revealing potential issues in the greater game that might go unnoticed until players go after each other with all of the tools available, rather than in the comparatively controlled environment of a single player or co-op mission against AI. It's something definitely to keep in mind though. These more public tests are hugely valuable to me in seeing how things play out over hundreds of playthroughs, instead of the few I can afford to spend the time doing myself. So I think that's really interesting. Obviously the JumpTown mission and similar missions and events in the future are all evolving, and player feedback is incredibly important for that. But Cloud Imperium are basically saying, look, we're starting to give you the tools to be able to defend structures from ships, but you need to bring those tools. You need to actually have those AA vehicles there and that sort of stuff. And that's sort of a fair point. What I'd actually like to see, and people are like, oh no, not another feature, but it's not another feature. It's an extension of what was already planned. I would like to be able to build base defences and prepare these outposts. So like being able to deploy my own gun turrets, being able to build up some anti-air stuff, some physical structures there. Sort of, yeah, an extension of base building. Give it to us at sort of set locations like this. That might be a good idea. Maybe you're like, oh no, not more features. And that's fair enough as well. It was just something I thought would be cool in this. But I suppose we're going to analyse gameplay and try and evolve it and iterate on it hugely. That's actually just going to lead to loads of more sort of like feature bloats and feature creep. And, well, actually, yeah, get those missions into a great state eventually, but just get more in the game now. And then we can have the larger sort of wider, maybe slightly vaguer conversations about what should come next. But yeah, I'm interested to know what you think about JumpTown and your experience with it, and what you think of ground combat at the moment, and can you fend off ships at the moment, or is it far too hard on the ground because you don't have enough stuff, and even when you do, I mean, ships still win because they can disengage at will. But also in that latest 3.16 patch, there's been some bug fixes. Or at least from the last build. Players should no longer damage ships while exiting them. That's good. They fixed an issue causing HUD elements to randomly become distorted. Underground bunker missions should spawn all of the intended FPS AI now and be accessible. They fixed an issue causing bounty hunter missions to stall indefinitely if leaving the area before it updates on a slow server. So they should be a lot more accessible now, those bounty hunter missions, including ones over sort of atmospheric areas. They fixed an issue causing bounty target markers to disappear. Gravlev vehicles should no longer take damage and explode with normal use. So Gravlev is working a lot better with the additional polish as well. Barton Flats aid station should no longer be inside Klesher trespass zone. They fixed 2 client crashes as well, but there are still a load of known issues. Ships sometimes won't appear in the VMA, which isn't great. You can't repair, restock, and refuel at some landing zones. Medical beds are not healing injuries properly. Characters' heads, mobiGlass, and other equipment are missing after being released from Klesher. Don't be naughty. Don't be a naughty prison boy in the short term. In the PT patch anyway. Bedlogging on a moon or planet. Sometimes that means your ship will fall through the surface. Not ideal. Hammerhead doors and turrets may not open for players. Emergency elevators are broken and don't send players to hospital properly. Heavy armor can clip through the mobiGlass icons. Weapons will not holster properly. Area 18 hospital pharmacy kiosks do not populate with items for purchasing and remain on the awaiting selection screen. The doors leading to Orison Cloudview Center Arcade will not open from the outside. Vehicles with Gravlev can get launched into the air when the sides and rear of the vehicle collide with static assets, regardless of speed. Exiting Gravlev vehicles causes it to fling you in the air, sometimes. So Gravlev still needs a little bit more of a polish, obviously, but it is getting there. But boom, that's it for your 3.16 update today. Obviously, some of those issues, they need to be fixed before a live build, as many as possible, hopefully all of them. Things like the heavy armor clipping through mobiGlass seems to be a recurring bug, unfortunately. But it does look like Cloud Imperium are trying to get this patch out ASAP to live, and I think we're still on for a potential live build between the 17th and 24th of the month. But what do you think? How is Alpha 3.16 for you if you're playing it? Have you had a chance to try out JumpTown or bounty sort of hunts in atmosphere of planets and all that sort of jazz? Do you think we'll see a live build before the year is out? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Ho ho ho, I'm a fat man with a beard and I'm gonna sneak down your chimney and give you
NordVPN. That's right, I'm BoredGamer. I am that fat man with a beard. And it's Nordmus. So what do you want in your stocking for Nordmus, little Timmy? I want NordVPN with its useful security, privacy and locational spoofing features. I also want a racing car set. Of course you do, but as I'm not sponsored by Racing Car Set, maybe you should shut your little mouth, Tim. Merry Nordmus! For December, we are giving away an Origin 400i with a Star Citizen game package and lifetime insurance. This is a luxury multi-role explorer ship for 1 to 3 players to run together. It's like a little yacht in space. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during December. If you'd like to further support the channel, please consider clicking that join button underneath my videos. You can also become a Patreon or even donate. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care, and I'll see you in the verse.